So welcome to our monthly community coalition meeting. All right, come on now. Come on. I need a little bit more love and energy than this, right? So welcome to our monthly community coalition meeting. I'm Tracy Parsons. I'm the facilitator of this great group in our community. So how many first-timers do we have here at coalition meeting? Okay, cool. Got a good handful. All right, let's give them a welcome, right? So this is a great space. We've been going at this for about, we lost a couple with the pandemic, and I can't count, those Zoom COVIDs, but we had 150 people in them, so we were happening in the middle of Zoom, right? But it's so much better to be here in person and get to see your faces and connect with you and all of those wonderful things. So this is a place where if you, we're going to do our introductions here in a moment, and if you don't meet somebody new today, if you don't catch up with someone you've been trying to call and they haven't been returning your calls today, coalition meetings are about hearing about the great things that we have going in our community. More importantly, how can we continue to connect and work together and collaborate to address our community's most difficult social and economic issues. And we've got 5 different priority areas. So improving and addressing police-community relations. Our law enforcement leadership is here every month to connect with us, connect with you, hear about and know what's happening in the community. We're gonna bridge and eliminate this divide and address these trust issues between the Black community and police departments, right? So Coalition is here to help facilitate that. Our second goal is community development, community engagement, right? So most of us that are here come from governmental entities, schools, U of I, Parkland, the parks, and government, and we do too much stuff in our buildings. So the coalition is about how do we get out in the communities, in the neighborhoods, meet with our residents, meet with those people in their spaces, right? So that we help change and improve and strengthen our community for everybody. So community engagement is huge, right? We do a lot of stuff in neighborhoods, in the parks, and that's an important part of the coalition. Our third goal area is youth development. So if we don't understand the importance of engaging with our young folks, we will never conquer those challenges, right? And our young folks need us more now than ever. Can you imagine being 10 through 18 and having your world shut down, being forced to eliminate all the social energy things that you get to do as kids, and imagine that, having to go through that? So our young people are going through an unbelievable traumatic time. And again, we're needed more. So we got to get our stuff together to help them deal with the issues they're challenged with. Community violence has risen to its own priority area. And so we have to continue putting the organized, constructive, collaborative projects in place to eliminate our gun violence. This is not the Champaign County that those of us that grew up here know, those of you that have been here for a long time know, but we're no different than any community across the country. So it is requiring that we all put down our whatever to come together. And then the last one is just what we call mutual advocacy. It's like we got a lot of great stuff happening, a lot of great groups doing great work. How do we support what's happening in the community without having to take it on, without being territorial? And how do we support one another? So that's what Community Coalition is all about. Thank you for being here. All right, so everybody welcome. So we got Evan and Mac and the cameraman, I'm not, you guys wave from the media, so got media here, that's great. All right, so this is the first time we've ever hosted a coalition meeting in Urbana. So, yeah, historic, right? And so, thank you for the introductions. Again, that's really, really important. I know it eats up a lot of time, but it's important that you know who's in the room. And again, if you don't meet someone before you leave here today, you haven't done your job. So here to give us a welcome to Urbana is our mayor, Diane Marlar.
Thanks, Tracy. You're right. It's usually a lot rowdier over here, so I don't know. But anyway, I'd like to welcome you all. I'm so happy to see you here in this recently remodeled hotel. And with any luck, and if the supply chain unclogs, we may be able to meet in another remodeled hotel in downtown Urbana next summer, so keep your fingers crossed. Anyway, it's great to have you here. You're going to hear about some big, bold, new initiatives coming your way in Urbana that'll help advance the goals of the coalition and really the goals of our community, and from the school district, the park district, and our community engagement coordinator and Self-Made Kings. So a lot to tell you today, and I won't take up any more time.
All right, so if our law enforcement leadership will come on up and
beat you guys again. Should have sat closer. Okay, so I've got a couple pages worth of stuff, so I'll try not to take up too much time. One of the things that Chief Seraphin always used to do is talk about the average number of days between shootings in Urbana. Right now, for May, we're at, on average, 6.3 days between shootings. We ended 2021 at about 3 days per shooting, so that's a good trend. Unfortunately, our number is still twice as often as it was in the past, so we still have some work to do there. I was talking to Tracy on the phone the other day, and he asked me to kind of talk about ghost guns a little bit. I don't want to steal anybody else's thunder because I know that the other departments here are working on ghost gun issues as well, but I can tell you that the Urbana Police Department, in about the last month, has seized 3 ghost guns from the street. There was another call where they seized a handgun with an extended magazine and a laser sight on it. Another call where there was a domestic involved and detectives got a search warrant for a vehicle and got a gun out of that. And just tonight, or just the other night during a city council meeting, not at the city council meeting, but during a city council meeting, our patrol officers actually recovered a MAC-10 off the street, which is a gun I have not seen in a long, long time. That is an interesting find to say the least. I talked about the chief search last month. The good news is that we are still making progress on the chief search. We have found our firm, and we're working to go ahead and execute that contract. I can't announce who the firm is just yet because we've got some paperwork to do, but hopefully that'll be taken care of before the next meeting so we can get the chief search started. That process is anticipated to last about 90 days, although Chief Tyler might have maybe some commentary on that because his search lasted a long time. Let's see, other goings on for the police department. We've got a budget coming up, and in our budget, we're asking for a couple new positions. We're asking for a digital forensics specialist, which is somebody that handles computers and cell phones and things like that. And we're also asking for an intelligence analyst, somebody that can help us work the numbers and really kind of focus in on those issues. If you've been reading the newspaper, we had an SRO agreement that went before the city council the other day. Sorry, my notes are falling. That is set to go before the Urbana City Council for an official vote on June the 13th. My anticipation is that will pass. Staffing. This is probably going to be something else that the other chiefs talk about. We're currently struggling a little bit. We've got 6 openings, so if you know anybody that is looking for a job, I did it last month. There's flyers outside on the table because I placed them properly this time so Tracy doesn't yell at me. There's flyers. Basically, every emergency agency in Champaign County is going to be at this event. Firefighters, police officers, EMTs. So please, take a flyer, share it with people. Everyone is hiring. I am hiring. If you know somebody, please refer them to me. I'd be happy to talk to them. So I think that will be it for me. Who's up next?
Thanks, Chief. So, hello everybody. My name is Tim Tyler. You can hear me. This is my first public event. So I want everyone in the room to know I got one police philosophy. We are from the community, therefore we help police. So all of us are part of the law enforcement family. So I look forward to working with everyone in our entire Champaign-Urbana area to make our community a safe haven. So our police recruit update, we have 19 vacant positions right now with the Champaign Police Department. We have been very aggressive about hiring. The good news story is right now we have 9 applicants that we're probably gonna hire before the end of June. Our goal is to make sure that we're hiring 20 police officers by the end of this year. Just to let you know that your Champaign police officers, just the last pay period, 33 police officers worked 100 hours of overtime, which is inhumane in my book. I'm very big on you work your 40 hours. My priority is that they get their rest, be family members, be community members, and then go into a lot of training so we can have the best and the most professional police officers in the nation. As you probably heard about the downtown security contract, AGB is going to be providing staffing to help us. This goes back to Sir Robert Peel back in the 1800s when he wrote that police community members should help police, so this should be no surprise. They're just going to be assisting. They're going to not have any weapons, but they're going to be our eyes and ears and ensure that our constituents and our vendors and our business owner have another set of eyes that we can use and provide any type of evidence that we need to ensure that when you're visiting downtown Champaign, you and your family members are safe. So we do have some current trends in the community, and ones are pretty much what we go through every year. We have this program called Lock It, Hide It, and Keep It. So we have a lot of our citizens that are leaving their vehicles unlocked. Purses there, wallets right there in the cup holder. And of course, it's almost an invitation for congratulations, you don't have your stuff anymore. So please don't do that. And also to our different vendors that are picking up food, make sure that you are turning off your vehicles while you're delivering your food. We are seeing a rash increase in vehicular burglaries and vehicular motor thefts. We do have a new program that's coming up. It's called a Voluntary Camera Registration Program. As you all know in law enforcement, which I totally agree, that the best type of evidence is video footage, and we have seen in the last couple of years how the facts have turned into the truth and the right people are getting convicted for what they do. So we're asking you to register for this program. And if we could use your camera for any type of investigation, that's fine. If you do register your program, it's just like giving up consent to search. If you decided to take away saying that we can't use your footage, we're fine with that. But if you say, yes, we can use it, and once you register, if something happened in the area, we will ask you if we can use your footage, and if you say no, that's fine too. But we just want you to know that we're leaning forward to ensuring that we collect the best evidence to make sure that our communities are safe. Regarding the shooting updates, so far for 2022, we've had 61 confirmed shootings. That's a lot. But the good news here, we're 45.5 reduction in shooting incidents. Last year this time, we had 112 shooting incidents. Unfortunately, we've had 2 homicides, and one was only related to gun violence. So that's the importance of hiring more police officers so that we can have more increased presence patrol to ensure that everyone is safe. Now, our street crime task force, we have recovered 5 firearms during the month of May. And patrol officers on regular beat patrol have recovered also 5 firearms. We have 4 gun-related arrests, which were all made in this month. Pending any questions or comments, I'll be followed by the sheriff.
Testing. What happens to the guns that you seize? Can you destroy them?
Yes, after we go through working with the state's attorney, making sure we go through NIBUS, no other crimes are associated with the weapons, then we get a destruction order from a judge, and then the weapons are destroyed. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks, Chief.
Welcome, Chief Tyler. Welcome to our community. Afternoon, everybody. You all know me, Dustin Harmon, Champaign County Sheriff. So I'm happy to report over the last 2 months, I believe, we've had 0 shooting incidents in county jurisdiction. My chief deputy, I believe, was here for me last month because I was on vacation and kept things under control, which is excellent. I did not pull our stats as far as where we were at last year compared to this year. I didn't have a chance to do that because this afternoon we had an award ceremony for some employees and some citizens to help to recognize their good work over the last year and some of the things that they've been doing in an increasingly challenging profession. And so I wanted to talk just briefly about a couple of things that we have coming up. So one of which is we're starting to work on, and I hesitate to call it a national night out, which is a term you've probably heard in the past, but it is our version of a national night out in Savoy coming up in August, and the purpose of that, and I'll have more information in July. The purpose of that is to kind of kick off the school season, make sure those who need school supplies, kids who need school supplies, have those school supplies, provide a family-friendly environment with games and a band and things like that. I believe the city of Champaign does something similar every year. It's not unusual to have communities that do something similar every year. So I'll be coming back to you with more information on that, but it'll be at Colbert Park in Savoy in August. The other thing is, you all know I'm very big into community policing. If there is any advantage at all to high gas prices, and I've thought really hard about if there's any advantage at all to high gas prices, it's that I'm encouraging deputies to get out of their cars even more often. So hopefully you will start seeing that. We're always a little more active in the summers anyways. We feel better. Unfortunately, we generally see crime increase in the summers as well. We have not seen that trend in the sheriff's office quite yet this year. But we feel better. We feel like walk-in neighborhoods and things like that in the summer. And so hopefully you'll see deputies doing that a lot more often. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. From the university, we don't have a whole lot of updates, which I guess is a good thing. We are working on the celebration, 4th of July celebration that's going to be on campus, so we're preparing security for that. Additionally, we received a small grant for the PAL program, which is a police athletic league. So this is a program that's a mentorship program for youth and after-school programs, so we hope to get that rolled out shortly for the fall season. Additionally, and I guess finally, we have extended 7 offers for our open positions that are associated with the Campus Town Patrol. So we anticipate to have that all wrapped up and ready to go, pending background investigations on these conditional offers. So we're full, and we hope to stay that way. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Troy Daniels from Parkland Police. We also have 2 positions open. I worked at the Sheriff's Office, also at Champaign Police, and now at Parkland. I can tell you that it's a wonderful place to work for anyone that you may know that's considering the police force. We have, I'm happy to say, our recruit officer, Jessica Alvarez, that joined us today. The reason why we asked her to come to this is because this is such an important group. We wanted to make sure that she saw how important the community was. Jessica, I want you to study these people up here. When they try to recruit you, remember I'm the only one you can trust. The only one, remember that. In light of the Uvalde, Texas mass shooting, we're reviewing our protocols, our training, making sure we have the right equipment so that we are well prepared for fall. And to end on a high note, we have lots of camps for kids that start at Parkland. We have hundreds of kids that come to mini camps. They start somewhere between the ages of like 7 and 8 all the way up to 17 years old, and it's nice to see the young people around Parkland College. Parkland College really touches tons of industries And there's so many opportunities for education, and anything that we can do to help get that word out to people that may need it, we're there to help. We have lots of people there that can help people get the education and training that they need to go further. Thank you.
All right, let's give all of our law enforcement leaders a round of applause. Great job, team. And I'm going to bring up Superintendent of Urbana Schools, Jennifer Ivory Tatum. Fresh principals coming up with her, and I'll let them handle everything. So welcome. Yeah.
She told me we had to stand behind the podium, so I guess we can't walk around. Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, that's going to be hard. I'm used to movement. All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome again to Urbana. It's great to see so many people here. I am going to follow suit with all of our chiefs. We are also hiring. So as I am sure almost every director or assistant director here can probably say. So please go to our website. Dr. Harden, raise your hand. Champaign Unit 4 School District is also hiring. So we need great people, and there are a lot of great people here in the room. So I want to thank Tracy and the Community Coalition for bringing you guys to Urbana. Yay, it's to you, right?
It's to you, baby.
And two, for giving us an opportunity to really talk about some of the, as the mayor said, some of the exciting things that we're doing right here in Urbana. But of course, we all know that this is a highly mobile community, so the things that we're doing also touch Champaign because our kids move back and forth quite a bit. So our new chief, welcome from Champaign. So we will be having conversations because, you know, this is a joint committee and our kids come back and forth and are with you sometimes as well. So welcome, Mr. Nance. This is his first year. So yay, end of his first year.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of tag team this. We want to talk to you today about our Anti-Violence Collective Initiative. So the AVC is a collaborative effort spearheaded by our leader here at Urbana High School and myself to really gather many of you right here in this room, members of the Urbana-Champaign community, to work together to combat youth and gun violence in Urbana. In order for the district, our district, Champaign Unit 4 district, and all of our schools to really combat these issues and problem solve them, we need everybody at the table. This isn't a school district issue. It's not an Urbana school district issue. It's not a city of Urbana issue. It's a community issue. It's a community problem. And I appreciate the work of the coalition leading us in these efforts. But we as a district and as a high school have been touched by this very closely in the last couple years. We've lost young people on our watch, and this was really birthed out of the need to not see that happen this summer. I am really happy to hear the news around the decrease. However, we are concerned in Urbana just from the conversations that we've had with our young people and the conversations he hears every day in our halls and in our schools, that we're concerned about the summer. And we brought together our internal group, and we said, we can't do this alone. We need more people to help us. So our goal is to really create a safe, healthy, and purposeful space to connect all the dots. So as we started bringing people to the table, what we saw is we are all working with the same folks. We're working with the same families. Many of us are working with the same students. So we're kind of working a little harder and not smarter. So what we're doing through this collective is really putting all those voices at the table and having conversations about some of our young people who are most connected to some of the gun violence that we've experienced in Urbana, as well as just some of the aggression and some of the changes that we've seen. As a district, anybody who's connected to a school, raise your hand. The students that came back to us in August were not the students we left in March 2020. It was a very challenging year for lots of different reasons that I'm not going to go into today. But I think one of the huge challenges that we've experienced is just the lack of social skills, some maturity things that we've seen, a lack of respect. And all of that really was, I think, just being away from their trusted adults, being away from structures, routines, systems. Kids crave rules, right? They need structure, they need those systems. And we had some of our young people, unfortunately, for 15 months that we didn't see. And they didn't have those trusted spaces. They didn't have those people who touched their lives in a positive way. So we have spent the year really regrouping and recovering from that. So the way we started in August is very different than the way we ended. So we felt like we need to get in front of some of the issues before the summer happens, and we needed more people to help us do that.
All right.
Oh, I think I'm next too. No, this is you.
It's me. All right. This is our first time with the tag team, so we'll figure it out. We're going to figure this out. So the AVC, take a look at the mission, vision, and objective. You're all professionals in the room, so I'll give you a second to look at the PowerPoint. I don't need the PowerPoint. It's all up in here, so I'm going to give you the highlight reel. The biggest part of the AVC is the community-sized pot of gumbo. I'm from the South, so a lot of Southern references you're going to hear from me. But that pot of gumbo is critical to the work that you're already doing. This is my first year in Urbana. I've never experienced gun violence. I've never lost a student on my watch as a leader in a school, and so I took that personal. And so we need to all come together in a collective think tank space that's safe, that we can go beyond the surface level conversations and really dive into the meat of the problem to create innovative solutions. And so that pot of gumbo, which takes time to cook up, if you know anything about a roux and your soup and all of that, it takes time. But we have so many professionals in the community already that are doing great work. So it's time for us now to step aside and put our individual egos, programming, and all those things to the side, come to the table in a collective space, because within that space, innovation happens.
So the founding members of our group, so we've been meeting since April, every single Monday. Mr. Nance really pulled us all together, and I want to recognize some of the people that are right here in this room because they've been showing up every single Monday. So I know a lot of us have really busy calendars, and we just want to show our recognition to these folks. So these are the people that have been with us from the very beginning. Myself and Mr. Nance, Dr. Nolan, Karen Sims, I didn't hear her name. Oh, yep, there she is. Raise your hand, stand up. Karen has been phenomenal.
Yes, please give her a round of applause, please.
Yes.
Please.
I just want to take out all the knowledge that she has and just put a little bit of it in here. Lamont Peppers, who introduced himself from the city of Urbana.
Yes.
Sam Smith, a CU area project. Also from Cranor, Sean Williams, business owner. I didn't see, shout out, Reverend Freeman from First United Methodist Church of Urbana, Maurice Hayes, HV Neighborhood Transformation, Joby Taylor, Housing Authority Youth Build, and of course Tracy Parsons. So I just want to recognize them for showing up and helping do the work. And we have recently added a few more people to the gumbo pot, as right. Mr. Nance described it. Some of our own staff members. I do want to recognize a new staff member. This is just officially as of last night. Miss Janice Mitchell is moving into the position that her mother held for so many years, our beloved Mrs. Mitchell, and she is going to be our family district liaison. Isn't that fantastic? That's awesome. Yolanda Hunter, Youth and Family Peer Support Alliance. Lori Britt, I don't know if I saw her, from Youth Assessment Center. Tracy Dace, Dream. Kyle Patterson, Cunningham Township. Gregory Scott just joined us from Carl Hospital. Terrence Alexander, I think I saw him from the club. And then we've also been meeting with probation. I didn't list all their names. And of course, there are other religious leaders, local business folks, tradesmen that we are really involving as part of this process. So I just want to give all those folks another big round of applause for being part of our gumbo pot. It takes a village, and that this group, when we get us all in the room, Sometimes they're interesting conversations, but the work is moving forward, and that's what's most important. So the goal of the group, again, our goal is we have about 30 to 50 High Hope students that are immediately impacted in some way or connected to some of the gun violence events that have happened in our own community or in Champaign. Our goal is that all 30 to 50 of those students walk back into our high school on August 18th, 2022. So that's my goal. I hope that's your goal. That should be our community's goal. As part of our working groups, we have a trauma-informed research practice group and our student intervention group. Mr. Nance is going to tell you a little bit more about those groups and what they're doing. Immediate tasks. So like these are the things since April that we have been talking about every single Monday. So wrapping around these young people so we see them again. We have planned a family component. That's why I wanted to give a special shout out to Karen. She is really helping us pull that all together, as well as the our new members who have joined the committee. We've been talking about a screening tool. We have written several grants. Our budget is finite, right? We don't have a budget where we can go out and hire all the additional restorative practice folks and the trauma folks and the therapeutic crisis interventionists and all the positions that we would love to have. So we've been writing some grants, and you know when you write grants, you need data. And so we have been looking at a lot of those tools, family tools, student tools. We can collect some baseline data so that the interventions that we're going to be putting in place, we know that they're making a difference, right, for our young people. Increasing communication with probation. As we were finding, a lot of our students throughout the year were back and forth, in and out of juvenile detention. I mentioned aftercare because sometimes we weren't always prepared for them when they came back. You know, sometimes we would get a call the next day and say, hey, so-and-so is going to be back in the building tomorrow. So we are working harder and smarter to make sure we have better transition plans so we can meet with the family, with the student, to make sure we have a plan for when that young person comes back to us. I skipped over trauma training. Again, Karen and her team are going to lead us through some very specific trauma-focused cognitive behavior training this summer. We're doing a lot of youth mental health first aid training of our own staff members so we know how to better connect with our youth. And planning summer activities. In a few minutes, Mr. Peppers is going to come up here and join me to talk a little bit about the Kings. So we've been planning activities for this group. We are expanding that group, and you'll hear about that in just a few minutes. And really using the collective wisdom of our team to plan activities that, one, students are going to be interested in, because our goal is to give them activities to keep them busy. We want to make sure they earn some money, so they're getting money in a positive way instead of some of the other ways that we know that they might be acquiring money. Getting them into some volunteer spaces, field trips. Many of you may not know this, but a lot of our students don't ever get outside of Champaign County. We have kids who they have been to Champaign, Urbana, Rantoul may be the farthest that they've been. And so we want to take them out, show them that there are other things outside of Champaign County that they can enjoy. Employment is the biggest thing, learning a trade. So is anybody here from the Housing Authority, the Youth Build program? We are huge fans. Unfortunately, for the Youth Build program, you cannot be in school. And this group, our goal is that they are all staying at Urbana High School. We don't want them dropping out. The adult ed program, I heard someone from adult ed, we have a fantastic adult ed program, but we want these kids to graduate from our high school. So we want to do whatever we can to keep them there.
That's right.
The Youth Build program is great, but you can't be a high school student at the same time. So we're kind of borrowing the model from Youth Build and using some of that, helping the young people learn a trade, get some certifications, also including some credit recovery, financial literacy classes. So this collective group is really helping us give our youth some tools that they can kind of put in their toolkit for the summer, for the school year. And then we're also writing some grants to incorporate things that they can do after school, because we know we can kind of control what happens between 8 to 3, but at 3:30 it's on, right? And so we're trying to figure out what are some things we can do in Urbana and outside Urbana from 3:30 till 8 o'clock on evenings, weekends, to keep these activities going and keeping them connected to us, keeping them connected to all these different things that we want to expose them to.
All right, so the biggest part of this collective that I think is different in terms of just coming together at a table to talk is that we actually have a theoretical framework that I'm using that's intentionally designed to make sure that we're producing products from the intervention. So they're not on this page, but I'm going to give them to you. The first one is the Socratic method for civil discourse. And going back to Socrates in the philosophical times, basically what that means is someone poses a question or a thought. Instead of us debating back and forth, how do you add value to that thought? How do you expand that thought? How do you extend it? How do you approach it in terms of producing something from it? So when we're in these hour sessions, that is the focus. Now, also at times, we get off track a little bit, and I'll allow that to happen. But the foundation for the collective is that Socratic method for civil discourse. The other part is collective intelligence, which basically means individual programs by themselves cannot solve societal issues. Gun violence is a societal issue. So we must step away from our individual selves. When I'm in that room, I am not Fresh Principal Nance. I'm a member of the AVC. And so that's something that I preach and practice every day when we're in those spaces. And I'm intentional about putting together our agenda and really making sure that all the voices at the table are respected. And when someone has a thought or idea, I always go back to how do I add value to it. So we have two groups for the AVC right now. The Trauma Informed Research Group, which is led by Karen Sims, and we really talk about the theoretical social-emotional learning aspect. How do we create a proactive framework to make sure our kids are in positive spaces and not being reactive but being proactive? And so, as Dr. Jennifer Tatum mentioned, we are working on creating a universal screening tool that all the members of the AVC can use, put all the data in one place, and really be able to connect the dots moving forward. So we have some summer plans. One of the summer plans is the community schools model, and I just pitched this to the group last week, and we really want to think about using our high school as a safe haven for mobile centers to be set up. So any partner that we have at AVC will break bread with food, but then we'll really break out into our classroom spaces for those intimate conversations, and you can do data intake. You can really connect with the families in that way. So that's something that I put on the table, and the AVC consensus was they wanted to move forward with that, so we'll look to schedule that. And then we want to continue throughout the school year to have those type of relationships, because the high school is a safe haven. It's where all the kids in Urbana are, so we're most likely to get our parents there. And so those are the two big initiatives within the Trauma Informed Research Group. And then the second group is the Student Intervention Work Group. So we have the framework, the house, and now we have the individual members that are working with our kids and families directly. And so, Lamont Peppers, you want to join us for the Self-Made Kings update?
Yeah, he'll do that next.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I'll continue. So one of the biggest components of the Student Intervention Work Group is the individualized student interventions. So Mr. Maurice Hayes from the Neighborhood Transformation, he is working with one of our, I would say, students who have the most chances to be involved in gun violence. He's one of our students who is directly tied to the streets. And Maurice Hayes has connected with this student, and that student has maybe 10 other students from Urbana High School that follow him. And so Maurice has been working with this student every week. We actually were able to put some parameters in place where this student is now getting summer school hours in our building. So please make some noise for that, please. Please. If you knew who this student was, you'd be probably jumping for joy right now. So to get him back in our building before school starts, to get him acclimated to our hallways and our systems and our staff is really setting the stage for him to be successful back into our building. So a big shout out to Maurice Hayes for that. Tracy Parsons has provided funding for us for Summer Youth Employment Program, so thank you, Tracy, for that. And then at the start of the school year, We're going to be talking about positive relationship building with every staff member in my building, from our hall monitors all the way up to the principal, all the way to the food service. We need to make sure that we are interacting with our students in a positive way, and we need to give them tools in their toolbox so that way they know exactly what our students are coming with and how do you respond in situations.
And then our last group, I know Tracy is going to get on us about time. Yep. So this one is a group that is still in development, and that this is our family focus group. We cannot leave out the family, right? We can touch every single student, but we have to touch their families at the same time. So I'm going to end there. I don't know, Ashley, if you want to change this for our next, and I'll keep talking just to close us out. So I just want to thank you all for letting us share this. Again, catch on with us. We are writing grants, but you know how grant funding is, right? We may not get any of those grants. So if you know of a way that you can help us with this collective and help us save lives, whether it's always time and money, right? So if you have time, you have that resource, or if you have some funding that we don't know about, and we can write a grant to get some additional funding to help us move these young men. Mr. Nance likes to say we have young people in our building who have 1 foot in the street and 1 foot in school. And we want both the feet in school, and that is our goal. So if you have a way that you can help us do that, contact me, contact Mr. Nance, and we will get you connected. So next is, we're going to jump right in. Self-Made Kings. So we presented this last night to our Board of Education. And this is a group, I'm going to not talk as much. Lamont's going to do most of the talking. Started in 2019. It is a collaboration, very much like Goal Setters, but go-getters. But we have kind of rebranded ourselves a little bit, and we're changing our model in some ways. And Lamont's going to talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, we're really excited about expanding this program this summer, and I'm going to let Lamont share the rest of the slides. You want me to click for you?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. You'll have to forgive me. I am not an educator, so I'm not going to be that long. I do quickly want to thank Tracy Parsons and the Community Coalition specifically and intentionally for backing the Self-Made Kings since 2019. I want to thank School District 116 for backing and supporting the Self-Made Kings program since 2019. I want to give a huge and tremendous thanks to the City of Urbana, Mayor Marlar, and all the participants who have backed the Self-Made Kings program since 2019, in the pandemic, through the pandemic, and now on this side of the pandemic. Having said that, let's move forward. The Self-Made Kings is an intentionalized program that looks and is aimed at focusing and working with African-American male youth in our high school. So originally as we started, we looked at students who were coined as high flyers, who found themselves oftentimes maybe on the short end of the stick of trouble. And we conducted interviews with students and with families to bring them in to this program, and there's a commitment to that. Let me click here. So I was a part of the original group. This was first started with Preston James and Jorge Elvira and myself as a student liaison representative, and I took over kind of heading the helm in 2019 after Preston's departure and then my subsequent hire with the city. So what we're doing now, what's going to be different? How are we rebranding? What things are the same? The big catch for these young men is they get to earn, they have the opportunity to earn a stipend. And I say earn because we're not giving them anything. There's an end goal of $600, and we are looking to hopefully increase that this year through our ask and through other means to give them opportunities to earn more. But I want to be clear that when we disperse these stipends to these young men, everyone's check isn't the same. It could be, but it isn't. And that's going to be based off your commitment. There's a contract that is given and is signed by both the student and the parent, the family, and their commitments as far as participation, assignments, volunteer opportunities. These are expectations that they meet that then filter out how their stipends are given out. So we have 6 returning participants. I am right now conducting 20 interviews and feelers, And we are hoping to have a total of 20 young men in this rebranded program. What do we mean by when we're talking about rebranding? One of the big things is that, and we want to be transparent, this program was started as the Urbana Youth Program. The first cohort of young men named this group the Self-Made Kings. We want to be transparent in that we've had some young men who started in this program and went through this program and who've landed themselves in some trouble. And so we want to give this new group of young men the opportunity to decide, hey, do we want to still be self-made kings, or do we want to change our name? Not only that, we are not looking at just per se the high flyer students or those students of high hope. We are going to be combining them with other young African American high school students who are successful. Young African American men who have got great grades, who are in activities, not just sports, but things like speech and arts and music. And we're going to put them together so that they begin to see excellence is not a color. We've got to get them away from the myth that if you want to use good English and you want to get good grades and you want a good college, you're trying to be white. And that's what's put in front of them, a lot of them culturally. We're ready for the next slide here. So we have a kickoff event that will happen on June the 17th at Urbana High School in the Commons. There's a real bad rumor that either I'm going to cater or cook, so come at your own risk. But that will be the night that we will bring the young men and their families together. There will be discussions with the young men, with the families, and it's that point that the contracts will be signed by those who are willing to commit. We're not forcing them. I want to be clear. We've had kickoff events where we've had 15 young men show up and 6 committed, and that's okay. But that's what this looks like. We'll be meeting twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 7. I just got this confirmed today at 1:30. Our new meeting place will be at the Weber Street Church on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 7. Aside from that, the program is such. Those first 30 minutes, we feed them, we let them get some energy out. After that, we move into work. We're going to be doing social emotional work. We're going to be looking at not just trauma in general, but we're going to be looking at their trauma. We're going to be looking at Black trauma. We're also going to be taking time to learn about Black history and what Black excellence looks like. That you don't just have to rap, but you can. You don't just have to play sports, but you can. But here are amazing contributions by Black people that are relevant, moving, and working today. We're ready for the next slide. So here are some of the things we're going to be looking at. Trauma information. We do a lot of reality check and peer conflict resolution. I've been trained and used to train TCI, which is Therapeutic Crisis Intervention. I do a lot of that. When you bring this many young men together, not everybody's friends. So we have to develop a plane of respect where we can operate so that everybody gets what they need from the program. We'll be looking at cultural awareness. We'll be looking at police contact. We have the police come in and talk to them. And we had Chief Seraphin come, and they were able to ask some tough questions. Tough. They were able to say, hey, look, I feel like, y'all are ops and y'all are on me. What's going on? And they got answers. They got information on how they can conduct themselves within their rights. We'll be looking at social media, employment training. We are rebranding in that the Self-Made Kings is moving up under the anti-violence collection. We're going to be housing them, and we're going to move these kings into programs that are going to be happening at HVNT and with CU Tri as a group, as a part of their requirements to participate. So we are moving away from just a silo work into this hub and conglomerate that was discussed earlier. We're ready for the next slide here. So previously, the funding has come in 3 parts. We have received our funding from the City of Urbana, the Community Coalition, as well as the school district. Originally, there was a $10,000 budget. What I will say is the Community Coalition has always donated above and beyond, and we're appreciative of that. The city increased their donation once I started here. So what is a $10,000 budget? I can report to you last year we operated off of a $14,000, $165 budget, which is a $4,000 increase from 2019. So we are looking to add students. We are looking to increase our budget. We feed them twice a week. We want to be able to give stipends to all the young men. We would like to give honorariums to the presenters. And then we want to take them outside of the community. I think that's it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for supporting.
All right. So Tim, come on up. Talk to us about health and wellness. As you can see, we're running tight on time, right? So we're going to move everybody a little bit quicker. I ask your patience. We've got some good things to share with you, so stick with us today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tim Bartley with the Park District. I'm here with Elsie, and we're going to talk to you about our new proposed health and wellness center in Urbana. But before I get started, welcome to Urbana. Glad to have everybody. Also want to shout out the last Walk is One that was held a week or so ago. Great experience. I worked with the Urbana team. We hit some new neighborhood places, and I think we made some new friends. I think our group in Urbana dropped off over 150 bags. We had bags that were in Spanish and French language. So thank you to the United Way and everybody that helped with that. I think that kind of program is the type that gets us out there and gets everyone visible and gets us, I know people in our group had never been to that part of Urbana, so we did some orientation. It was a lot of fun. All right, we'll move on and start talking about health and wellness. Just a little background. I think the Urbana Park District's had a very sketchy past with indoor recreation space. In short, we haven't had it. I've been with the district about 30 years. When I started in 1992, the second week on the job, I started the demolition of our community center. That was our main recreation space. It was the old Thornburn School right on West Springfield Avenue. So we tore that facility down. 3 years later, we were able to cobble together some funds to build the Phillips Rec Center, but partly due to funding and the boneyard that bisected the site, we couldn't add the gymnasium and the active recreation space. So we have essentially a smaller, almost neighborhood type facility. It's great, we do some active rec things there, but it's not a full service comprehensive facility. Later, as Champaign County took over the Brookins Administrative Center, we were able to lease the gym pod, the band room, and 3 practice instrument spaces that got converted to offices. It's just very inadequate space. Obviously seeing what people need, what families are talking about, and some of the newer concerns we have in the community, reaching out, working with high hope neighborhoods, community violence. You know, we need a more comprehensive facility. So we have been working over the last 6 years, just a quick brief history. We had an initial interest in downtown Urbana. We were working with local units of government to create kind of a government complex building that would have a recreation facility. Due to schedules and funding, that wasn't able to happen. We shifted and started working with Champaign County YMCA. The hope was to bring a facility to Urbana and partner with that organization. We were unable to make that happen. Next, we started talking with Lincoln Square, something in the center of town. Wouldn't that be great? Couldn't we get something really dynamic there? But obviously the timing and the funding was just off kilter. We couldn't make that happen. So we finally figured we need to do this on our own. And by our own, I mean the district taking the initiative and relying on donors in Urbana, grants that we've been successful with. There's a state grant called the Park Grant, PIRC. It's a $2.5 million grant specifically and only for indoor recreation. We are one of 9 other Illinois communities that received that, so Urbana should be very proud. And that program's only been offered 2 other times in my 30 years career. Champaign Park District was able to get funding for the new Leonard Center. So that's another example of what a funding program like that can do. So today we want to talk a little bit about where we are with the project. Here's a slide of the building. We're continuing to progress with that. A little about the siting of that, why, where, and where are you going to put it. We looked at about 10 different park sites, and we eventually landed at the Prairie Park site, which is on Washington Street. It's at Washington and Learman near the Brookins Administrative and the Preston Williams campus. So we thought that was a really good location. Some of our criteria, we wanted to be in high hope neighborhoods, areas that really needed the services, places that people could walk by, bike and take the bus to, and also that had expansion, maybe some other outdoor amenities. Went through an extensive public process. We started this before the pandemic, so a lot of these images were shared in person. We had lots of people come out and give us preferences. The slide on the far side shows all the different sites, the pros and cons. The middle slide gave people preferences of what would you like to see indoor and outdoor, styles, types, amenities in that offering, and then activities and programs on the left. So we got a lot of public information. Here's our site. Just want to point out a few things. Obviously, Washington Street here, Learman Avenue, the Brookins Complex. This is Prairie Park. This is the buildable site. We're taking out the softball fields north and south to build the facility here. The Urbana High School baseball team stays, and the ball fields and the sledding hill. Right next to us is the Preston Williams campus, and then Weaver Park, 60 acres for future development, both for athletics and natural areas. North of that is the Kickapoo Rail Trail. So we're trying to make regional connections, bring people to this site, and make it very easy. Obviously, the neighborhoods around this area need a lot of help. There's not a lot of resources. We know that the old small Brookins gym is our busiest facility. We have over 100,000 visits, and we're turning people away. So we need to create space in Urbana that we can say yes. In fact, I don't think we could host a meeting of this size. So we really need that critical space. Obviously, opportunities to work with the school next door and our Urbana partners, schools, city, library. We're all on the same page with this. Moving on to specifics of the site. Here's the modest-sized facility. We'll talk a little more about that. We're planning for 2 bays of parking, about 120 spaces. We have room for a third in the future. There'll be trails and connections throughout the site. Some of the future amenities, though, that we're really working on that are, in a way, almost more important are the outdoor amenities, because they'll serve the neighborhood 365 days a year. So we have a great master plan for the site. Some of the outdoor amenities are a destination playground, a spray ground, which we don't have in Urbana. You know, a lot of people are struggling to find a way to pay to come to Crystal Lake Pool or the Indoor Aquatic Center. This might be that free, open, aquatic experience that many families could take advantage of. So we're excited about that. Outdoor basketball, pavilions, natural areas, trails that will link over to Weaver Park, and then future ball fields and athletics. We're even envisioning a skate park, bike training facilities at this site. So it has a lot of possibilities, and we're working first, obviously, on the building. Now, this is what I call the scary slide. You probably can't read all the details, but what you're basically seeing is the plans for the first floor and the second floor, but we've hit some funding challenges. Obviously, COVID came, inflation came. We were around 9 to 10 million, which was creeping up. You know, every project creeps a little bit. We got our first schematic design estimates, and we're over $14 million. So what this represents is really a facility that could have 2 full gymnasiums or basketball courts in the large gym, might have a court and a half, 1, or possibly 2. So we're really working hard to find every other resource. We've had a great outpouring, raised almost $2 million in private donors, just mostly Urbana people that saw there was a need and an opportunity. We have a couple of grants. We're working with a DCO grant, and we're also talking with the city and the county about any ARPA funding that would be related to violence prevention in a way that might help go to this facility. Obviously, that's one of our core areas. That's a lot of the reasons we're all here, in addition to growing our communities and seeing good things happen. Obviously, this facility could be a circuit breaker. The kind of programs, the people that will be invited, and the access, which we cannot provide right now in Urbana, will make a huge difference. So next, I'm going to have Elsie talk a little about the programs, our partners, things that we hope to be doing in the building.
Thanks, Tim. So we had heard already from Tracy about the importance of community engagement, and we also heard from our school district personnel about the importance of all of us working together to solve some of these big issues. We really see this facility as being the last piece to really make our community engagement efforts all that they can be. And so over the past couple of years, we've added our Urbana Mobile Recreation Unit to bring things out into the neighborhoods and to the people, as you heard Tracy speak about earlier. And we also formed our community outreach and support team, full of a lot of great community partners and neighborhood leaders. And so we really foresee both of these adding into the facility to best serve Urbana in the best way possible. You can see that we held over 55 events through Urbana with 18 different community partners and worked with over 2,500 individuals. And that's just through Urbana last year. So imagine what we could do if we have this facility. And lastly, we were able to offer 146 full scholarships for some of our programs. And we do foresee trying to offer some of those types of scholarships for access to the facility to make it as open as and accessible and affordable as possible. And I just want to give a quick shout out to a lot of those community partners that have made our work thus far possible. You'll see many of your organizations and entities listed on the screen here, but if you don't, there's always the opportunity to. So make sure to speak to me. And we plan to have a community space within this facility, and so please work with us on that. We'd love to host you, and we'd love to co-create and make things happen for Urbana together. Thank you.
All right, so testing. All right, so have some flexibility, and I'm going to be a little creative here because I want to make sure we get everyone in and out. And I apologize in advance to all of our partners that have prepared wonderful presentations and slides. So I'm going to ask you to forego those for today, and I promise to get you back on future agendas. So Jacqueline and your team come up so we can meet the ambassadors. Come on up, get up, you gotta move. 2 minutes.
Hi, everybody. I know it's super cold in here, so yes, I am very cold, Tracy. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much, Urbana, for allowing Champaign to kind of sneak in here a little bit to tell you guys a little bit about the Neighborhood Ambassador Program. First and foremost, this is my team. You're going to be seeing them in the downtown area. They're going to be in this bright orange. Their pants will be looking a little bit different as we move forward, but as we always say, we are building the ship and flying it, but I think Carrie's like, you can't fly a ship, so there's my first problem, right? So, but we are actually going to be changing the hours for the Neighborhood Services Department. Usually you know that the city is an 8 to 5 kind of shop. We are going to be actually available from 1 to 10 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays we're going to be working from 3 to midnight. Our goal is really to educate and engage and bring resources to residents and to the businesses in the city of Champaign. We want to rebuild relationships. We want to bring back the love. And as we have heard many times throughout a lot of the presentations, we really want to just get people reconnected, right? We want people to remember what it's like to be outside, right? We want people to love each other while they're outside, and we hope to be able to be a part of that. So I'm going to quickly introduce my team. When you see them in downtown Champaign or other residents in the city of Champaign, please feel free to stop them, say hi, tell them your concerns, your needs, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring it back to the city and try to find resolutions and be able to really fix some problems. So this is Sarah Rand, this is Michael Washington, and this is Javier Pena. We are a bilingual team, so we are going to be doing things in English and in Spanish, so we're trying to reach as many people as possible. So if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach us at Neighborhood Services at 217-403-7070, or you can also email us at neighborhoodservices@champagnil.gov.
All right, give them a round of applause. Thank you, Jacqueline. So, Reverend Williams, you all want to come up, please? Now, just much respect, brother, for what you've done for Urban Restoration Ministries. Please. He's retiring, and so you have 2 minutes, and we'll have you back.
I'm Irvin Williams, Executive Director, Restoration Urban Ministries. Yeah, I'm retiring March 15th. It'll be 30 years since we started restoration. It's time for some new blood and new vision and ideas. The only thing I would like to say, and then I want to introduce you to Bonnie, who is my assistant, who will become the new executive director, is that restoration has been about people, poor people like I have been, growing up, who needed help from other people, but we also needed more. We needed to learn how to help ourselves. And then once we learn to help ourselves, then we could help others who were in the same conditions that we were in. And that's probably the philosophy of restoration there. This is Bonnie Kraft, and as I said, she'll become the new executive director.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here tonight. I always like to share restoration changed my life, so I have been there 19 years, and I always say that I'm a product of restoration. I know that when you come through the doors, you come through the doors with addictions, with heartaches, with issues, and through our self-sufficiency program, I believe that lives are changed because I'm one of those lives.
So just, Reverend Williams, just wants to, please, can we give him a real love, right, for the work he's done with urban restoration? Absolutely. Yeah. I thought I saw Abby. Did she have to take off? Okay, so Tim mentioned the Read, Talk, and Play community event we did. Go ahead, MC. 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. So we had over 80 volunteers deliver over 400 resource bags in English, French, and Spanish to neighborhoods in Champaign, Urbana, and Rantoul. So we had pictures. We know we're out of time, but just wanted to thank everybody who spread the word and everybody who showed up because we got a lot of good information to a lot of families. Thank you.
All right. So Dr. Neffy is here with some of her students in Girls Inc. I've been out of the office for a few days, so just bring them up. Just say hello. Come on. You got 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes. Come on. We've got our student. We can't not acknowledge, right? We have to. Okay, and then you guys kind of come stand behind over here.
Hello, everyone. Today we have with us, I believe you met Mr. Reinhard Wilson, who's one of the coordinators for the Guides program, as well as Minister Isaac Bobo. We also have
Elia,
Giselle,
Dr. Lori West,
Elora.
And GIRL stands for Genuine, Intelligent, Respectful Ladies Soaring, and GUIDE stands for Genuine, Upstanding Young Men Soaring. The program began in 2007 and is basically includes students from 6th through 12th grade. We actually recently on Sunday had a senior celebration and award ceremony where a lot of our students were able to receive awards and be acknowledged for all the great things that they're currently doing. Several of our students have been accepted to several different colleges, and it's a holistic program, so what we do is incorporate everything that we know that they need to be successful as they matriculate through the K through 12 system, as well as to make sure that they have the opportunity to choose the direction as they transition into adulthood as far as colleges are concerned. So when we say the holistic aspect of it, we're looking at volunteerism. We're looking at college tours. They have internship opportunities. We help them, and they have internship training, so they're creating resumes, and they have internships. I will let them explain a little bit more about some of the activities and some of the things that they enjoy in the program as well. We also have individuals that assist with the program that speaks additional languages, such as Spanish and things of that nature. So we also do tutoring to make sure that they are prepared. They take on leadership positions. And so when they introduce themselves earlier, you may have heard of some of the leadership positions they take on. They also help, so we have treasurers, so they help with the planning process. They help with the technology. They help with the web design and things of that nature. So I'll allow them to speak a little bit to the program and some of the things that they enjoy.
All right. Hi again. My name is Elia. I am over the travel committee. So what that is when we are planning trips, going out of the state, out the country, I'm sort of over that. And I also work with a team, and like we come together and we sit down and we talk about what we're gonna do and stuff like that. My favorite part about being in the girls program so far is how I am I'm going to be a sophomore in high school next year, and my favorite part is I've known that I wanted to go to college and that I wanted to graduate high school early ever since I was in 7th grade in middle school. And I love it when I tell my teachers, I'm finna go on a college tour. Like, I am already looking at college tours, and they'd be like, are you for real? And I'd be like, yes. So that is my favorite part about being in the girls program.
My favorite part of like the girls group is like going out to like different states and stuff on college tours. It gives us like more opportunities to like see out of like the Champaign community and stuff like that. Yeah.
As I said, my name's Elora. I'm over the recruitment and sister care committees, and my favorite part is being within girls. I've learned to like speak to others and like learn to like ask questions, because like my main struggle in middle school was like just asking like one simple question. Now I'm able to like ask colleges like, I want to go into music. What can I do to like get into music? Trying to graduate my junior year.
And so even with some of the, thank you, ladies, even with some of the opportunities when we visit colleges, sometimes they actually get to actually experience the technology that's in that particular area. They actually do interviews on radio stations. They just have the opportunity to do, they get to see the studio productions. They actually are going through a training this summer as well. They also, in our senior celebration, we had Dr. Ivory Tatum just actually speak as our primary speaker, so we really appreciate her as well. And like she spoke earlier as far as saying that they develop life skills, so those social skills that are needed. We also collaborate with a lot of different individuals. We actually cater to all the school districts, so Champaign School District, Urbana School District, as well as Rantoul School District, so that Champaign County area. So if there's anything else, we also have Dr. Lori with us, so she wouldn't mind saying a few words as far as some of her involvement in volunteerism as well.
I'm really blessed to be a part of the program and to partner with girls. I work on campus. I'm an academic advisor in the College of Engineering at Illinois, and just involved in many other things as well with Canaan Baptist Church and so many others. But it's been a blessing to be connected with the girls. I've been mentoring students for years, working on campus for 22 years. But this is a unique opportunity. And so we want to thank you as community partners. We want to thank Dr. Dambo and everyone who has made this possible for the girls and guys.
We want to also thank the Community Coalition, because they have definitely been supportive, because the resources are already needed, as well as finances. So thank you.
So we wanted to make sure we highlighted Dr. Neffy and the great work they do through girls and guys. They are part of our summer initiatives. So we receive funding from Champaign County Mental Health Board to fund and support special projects. And that's one of the ones. So we love having the students come, because this is the reflection. These are our students, right? This is the reflection. And so sometime with our media partners here, they don't do a good enough job of sharing who our kids really are and that image piece. So we want to make sure we saw. So thanks again, Dr. Neffy, for you and your team and the great work you're doing. All right. So Reverend Thomas, if you want to come talk about our prayer service we have coming up. Don't look at your watch, you know.
We got 1 minute. I'm going to do this in 1 minute and go. Good afternoon, I'm Reverend Thomas. I am now the president of the Ministerial Alliance of Champaign, Urbana, and vicinity. On Friday, June 17th, we are holding our second annual 48 Hours of Peace prayer service. We've entitled this event, "The Time Is Now, a community prayer service against violence." In light of all that this nation has experienced in both community violence, the mass shootings, we want to move beyond thoughts and prayers. The time is now. Of course, we want to pray, but pray for action, pray for repentance. And we're going to do something different with this service. We've held 2 prayer services. We did one in January, we did one last year. What was missing was the targeted population who was impacted, the young people, the folks directly influenced by violence. So my beloved clergy and friends, we're going to sit this one out. The invitation goes out for the youth to lead the prayer, the folks who are impacted to lead the prayer. Oftentimes when we hold these prayer services, is folks who ain't doing the shooting, doing the praying, and the people that's supposed to hear the word and supposed to be touched, they're outside the room. So we're doing it at Bethel, my church, Bethel AME Champaign, 401 East Park, Champaign, Illinois. It will be June 17th, the Friday before Juneteenth. We will start at 6 o'clock. We won't keep you no more than an hour and 30 minutes. The last thing is, this is a interfaith prayer service. So we're going to ask our partners from other faith communities to come send their young people and lift us up in prayer. Thank you. God bless. Done.
So it really was a powerful event last year. I want to encourage the community to come out and support next week. And then Michelle's here to tell us about the Odyssey Project real quick. And no, you don't have to run. It's good. It's good.
All right. Hi, my name is Michelle Awad. I am from the Odyssey Project, which is a free education program for adults run out of the Humanities Research Institute over at the University of Illinois. All you need to know is that we are currently accepting applications. This is a, oops, I was supposed to be standing over here. This is a free adult education program for low-income adults. So the 3 criteria for the program: you must be over 18 years old, you can't already have a degree, so it's a program specifically designed for folks who have been marginalized from higher education, and 18, can't have a degree, and the income eligibility requirements. So it's 150% of the federal poverty level. We have a chart on our website that outlines all of that information, so folks from like Urban Restoration Ministry and Parkland Adult Ed and some other people in the room, I'd love to connect, because it's a really valuable opportunity for especially our low-income community members to give higher education a chance, and about 80% of our students continue on to degree programs. So yeah, my name is Michelle. If you just Google UIUC Odyssey Project, you'll find us, but I also have a ton of flyers and my card here. So thank you.
All right, so we got it in. I apologize to our presenters to not do your fantastic PowerPoints that we have. Welcome to Urbana. We're going to be here again next month. We've got a number of great things happening. So Juneteenth is next weekend. There's unbelievable amount of activities taking place the entire weekend. Gets kicked off after the prayer event Friday night, and enjoy and celebrate that week. But we've just got a lot of great things happening in our community that really requires us to come together and support one another. Let's put down those petty, divisive things that keep us from being the best community that we can be. Our young people, our communities and neighborhoods in need us from a leadership place to be better than we have been, right? And I don't say that from a negative place. I say it from we've got an unbelievable community here, and it's worth the investment for all of us to have our community be all the things for everyone. That the things that we experience and take for granted, there are far too many that haven't been exposed, haven't had the opportunity, have been locked out. So we're going to eliminate all of that. Chief Tyler, welcome to the community, brother. All right. So thank you, peace and love. We'll see you next month.